Welcome to Breaking the Silence. This is In Conversation With. Of course, this is a show where I talk to a guest who has experiences or has witnessed something paranormal or seen a UFO or all of the above. And we have a conversation about their experiences. And sometimes I talk about mine too as they relate. I want to welcome Tim Kaney back. He did a film for us where he sent in his cell phone footage where he just talked to camera, and I put it in a CGI cell phone and recreated a lot of things that happened to him. Tim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, I think, did we have you on a live stream once? I think we did. Is there a lag? Can you hear me okay?
I can't. It's cutting out again. It's freezing and then cutting out, and I don't know. We're having some trouble here.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Let me try
Can you hear
this.
me?
I'm so sorry if this is on my end. Hmm.
Can you hear me okay
Okay.
now?
Is that any better?
Nothing.
I can see you and I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you
you
now.
clearly. When you talk, okay.
This seems to be a little bit
Yeah,
better.
sometimes this happens. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes it's that either your internet is slow or my internet's slow or both are slow or somebody's messing with us, which happens sometimes too. But I'm trying not to go there. So was what I was saying is it has happened when we were right about ready to talk to about some sensitive things. We've been just cut clean
Wow.
off. But we're just going to talk about your experiences. You were on a live stream way
Yep.
back when, weren't
Yep.
you?
I
I
believe
think
so.
also. Yeah. So this is the first time you've done a recorded
Mhm.
show,
I think so. Yeah, and
and
I sent in the video
it's
before. Yep.
right. Oh yeah. Well, I talked about that. I guess I was frozen or something when I was saying that. Of course, none of that will happen in the feed that I get because it's recorded to your computer and
Okay.
my computer. So I'll have some editing to do. Um, but it's been a long time since we talked. But before we, go into what's new with you, I thought it would be a good idea to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and explain some of the experiences that you've had,
All
and we'll
right.
take it from
Sure.
there.
Thank you. Thanks again for the opportunity to meet with you
Yeah,
guys. It's always good to see you, and I appreciate that. So,
yeah.
my name's Tim Kaney. I am from Wisconsin in the Madison area, and I am now one of you that refers to themselves as an experiencer. Growing up, I was experiencing a lot of recurring nightmares that were very traumatizing as far as the content and nature of them. Fear, like things that would cause fear in any kid. And those continued on. I had lifelong occurrences of just kind of weird things happening, synchronicities, and just this notion of like there's something else going on as I grew up. Um, Fast forward to when I was probably in my middle 20s, I experienced after the birth of our first child something that changed the course of my life even more forever, which was I had the experience of waking up night after night for months in a row, um, at the same time every night that that would happen. Now, if it was
What time was that?
3:43 a.m.
Three 43. Okay.
every time, and I had this little digital clock at the side of our bed on a nightstand, and every time I'd wake up, I'd see it, and those numbers and that color, that little digital readout came to be kind of a trigger mechanism for me, if you know what I mean. Just seeing that all the time. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet.
it wasn't that I was just waking up. I would wake up in this state of, like, not not exactly, like, terror, but, like, something had just happened. Like, "Holy crap, I missed something." You know, like, when you start awake and your heart's kinda racing, but I would never have any dreams or, like, I you would think, "Oh, I heard something," and I woke up. That happens all the time to folks, but it was like I go to sleep and this black wall of awareness until that time when I would awake, and it was like I was in the middle of something very high stress, and all of a sudden I'm awake. That came to a head one evening, which morning, obviously, where I came to, but my eyes were closed. I could not move my body, and I was hearing and feeling this mechanical, um, kind of um, waxing and waning hum. Um, and I think you guys might be Star Trek fans. I'm not sure, but if you remember the Whales
Yeah.
movie, the drone that comes and tries to talk to the whales, that that's the closest thing I can think
Right.
of to
Sure.
describe the sound. But as I said, I felt it as much as I heard it. And within a few moments, I was able to open my eyes and I sat up with the start and I was just looking around. The whole room, well, our room was like light blue already, but it seemed like it was, you know, illuminated in this color as well. That was kind of a darker, weird, eerie greenish blue. And I just sort of
Hmm.
was paralyzed there with like this notion of what is going on. Um, Still kind of that high stress state. And I tried to wake up my wife, but she wouldn't. Um, and then I got the worst feeling of somebody's right next to me. And our bed was in such a way that there was probably a foot or two before the wall. And I looked over and kind of like a caveman instinctively reached out because I thought something was there, some person or something. My hand kind of felt a cold spot and I saw this shadow shape flit out of the window or across the wall and outer bedroom window. And that is something that, of course, has stuck with me for a long time. I tried to just ignore what was going on. I was working full time, growing our family. Of course, I told my wife about what happened, but what is she gonna do about that other than go, "Oh man, that's weird."
Yeah.
So those nightly awakenings kind of stopped after that, and I'll kind of try to fast forward. Like that was the main thing that was occurring at that point in my life. The only other thing I would mention is that there was several times when I was on my phone with my brother where I swear I heard like the old landlines when someone else would pick up. Um, if you had another one in the house, you could hear when somebody else was listening in. I had a cell phone, and I
Hmm.
swear that I heard that on the cell phone not long after that. So just trying to go through life for several years, jobs and whatever changed. I moved to Minnesota, and what really, really, really was the catalyst for looking into my past and my experiences was this reaction that I had to a picture of the typical gray alien in a store, and it's sort of like was a waterfall
Hmm.
effect. I was not prepared for how that happened. It stuck with me for days, and then I started really looking more into experiencer research, different books, and finally reached out to MUFON and their experiencer team and did their questionnaire, spoke with one of their specialists, and kind of came to the conclusion through them, their input, and my history and my mom's history that yeah, I'm likely a lifelong experiencer with this stuff. Um, there's a lot more we can
What
get
was the
into.
picture that you saw?
It was like an advertisement.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so weird. It was like an advertisement for some brand of clothing or something, but it was like this just caught me the way it did. It was like the whole physical, visceral reaction of seeing something that you had before that is both just kind of paralyzing. I don't know if I yeah, maybe some fear too, but it was more like just you're frozen. There's, like, nothing and everything all at the same time. But, of course, we're with our family, trying to walk home and
You
get home, but my body is, like, ice cold, chills, and, like, shivers the whole time. It was just wild. It was the picture was just like the bus
you know you know that
and, like,
uh
wrinkled, gray, big eyes. It was just wild.
you know that a lot of people in the 80s when Whitley's book came out, Communion, had the
Mm,
same exact reaction because they saw
mhm,
the face on the cover
mhm.
in many, many stores, grocery stores. After a while, it was everywhere, every bookstore you went into. And so over the years, I've heard what you've described
Really?
many, many
Wow.
times, many, many times. Very, 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 very typical.
I got cold chills
The
now.
physiological reaction. Oh, yeah, and this is how people find out. The other thing is looking back on you being paralyzed. I don't think you had sleep paralysis because what I hear all the time from the experts and the uh, psychologists, psychiatrists, and other scientists, um, they always say that's sleep paralysis, um, and I really think that
Mhm,
you know the difference. They think you don't,
mhm.
but you do. I mean, myself, I've never had sleep paralysis ever. I've never woken up and couldn't move except when there were more than one gray standing over me, levitating me out of my bed and going through the ceiling. Seriously. Uh, but that was early on, and after a while, it wasn't like that. I was taken by
Mm.
hand and led outside. Um, but I never thought it was sleep paralysis, and I know the difference. I know what people have described for actual sleep paralysis, and I don't think it was that. I
No,
really don't. Usually, they see dark shadows in the room and stuff like that, and then eventually you sort of fully become awake, and the paralysis goes, and so does the images. But you watch
mhm.
something leave the
Yeah,
room. You felt
yeah,
the cold spot, all of
and
that.
the craziest
So
thing is just how I was so aware of everything, but I couldn't open my eyes and couldn't move, and I think I've had sleep paralysis where I'm, like, trying to move and it feels different, like, your body feels like it's coming back from being asleep, like, if you sat on your hand the wrong way or something like that, your body feels heavy. I didn't
yeah,
feel any of that, and it takes a long time. I was instantly able to move, like, once I could open my eyes. I was up straight in a heartbeat, and I didn't have any of that tingling
right.
that you might expect with sleep paralysis. I just what they write about, I've read some of these articles too, it doesn't really add up to being that.
No, I mean, basically, what your body is doing is subduing you, so that if you're in a dream and let's say you get in a fist fight or something, you don't punch your wife next to you.
Yep.
you know, it paralyzes you, so you can't do things like that. But oddly enough, in my case, I have been known to do that. Not punch my wife, but frail my arm to hit something
Mhm.
away in my sleep and hit my partner in bed over the years, and it's happened a lot of times. And I've also hurt my hand on
Mm.
the bed and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, I
You're a
don't
very
get
active
paralyzed,
sleeper.
at least not from sleep. Yeah, and I remember all my dreams and
Yeah.
everything. So, but let's talk about you.
No, that's okay, I don't mind.
So, yeah, no, no, no. I mean, it is a conversation. We are talking about this stuff, and you did have a show and you did do a
Yeah,
live stream, but we got a lot of new people um, watching the channel, and I would like to know more about, or I would
sure.
like you to share more with the audience. And also, I'd like to know what's been going on with you more recently, because for many of us, it's become less physical and much more on a conscious level in dreams and um, communications when you're fully awake and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So, what else can you bring us up at speed on that happened after these events with the seeing
Well,
the
I
image.
I got like I said, I got deep into research, and one of the first books I read was John Mack's, shoot, interviews the one with the interviews
Yeah,
of, experiencers, and
yeah. I'm drawing a I'm drawing a blank too.
yeah,
He was a
I
wonderful
really,
guy.
really respected how he approached that and his writing on it. Now, there was another incident of that same, I would say even stronger reaction to one of the experiencers' images, a very crude drawing, but it was again, I was reading, just not expecting that to be there on that page, and I had to put the book down. Like it was somebody walked over my grave, right? So I just was more and more convinced that there was something going on. So from there, there's a lot of little in-betweens, reading more books, kind of being more curious. I actually did go to a hypnotherapist at one point. It was somebody local, and they were involved in the QHHT methodology by Dolores Cannon, the
Yes,
past life
right.
regression. And I should back up. So
Mhm.
between talking with MUFON and that point, I had joined Opus, which was an online support community. That really helped me parse out a lot of the details by talking with others on it's just a very crude Google um, forum, just text back and forth with everybody. Lots of different
Right.
experiencers. I was having a lot of lucid dreams and possible, whatever astral travels, memory fragments coming back, um, and learned a lot about what other folks had uncovered already. Now, beyond that, there's a lot of life events that happened. We had 2 kids, while we lived in Minnesota. I had a lot of weird dreams there, having to do with where I grew up, and then I would have these weird, like, I'm going into a portal of some type within the house. It was like I was being sucked into it and kind of turned digitally, if that makes sense, into this portal.
Mhm.
Um, and some other things here and there. There were some paranormal experiences, I would say there. I was often drawn to the backyard, and later we found out that there was this bucket buried in the backyard where we were going to plant a tree, and it had scraps of a deer skull in it, plus dirt. And I don't know if that's a common
Huh.
practice, but it was very strange to us. We think might have been some activity in that house, but just not sure. Moving forward from there, again, work got very involved. I had a new job, and we were in Madison. I'm kind of jumping around the um, the QHHT thing. The hypno regression sessions didn't really happen until
Mhm.
probably a couple years after we got back from Minnesota. Um, but jobs took over. Had kids, and that session really unraveled a lot for me. We could talk more about that in detail, but I want to make sure I get to present tense. So, had a real bad car
Okay.
accident in let's see, 2022. Had a head injury, neck injury, back injury,
Wow.
and that turned things real squiffy. If I can use that terminology. I stopped lucid dreaming for probably 2 years. Everything was messed up. Um, I had the strangest sensation or experience where at the end of the day or in the morning, say I was in a shower or in a room by myself, I was having visual images of things that happened during the day coming through my, like, I'm here in my room, but I'm seeing an overlay of, like, maybe it was my kid's soccer game as I'm just standing there looking. That period, it's
Wow.
finally, I think, stabilizing, but that period has been the worst in my life, I think. I didn't recognize my wife, I didn't recognize my kids, I didn't recognize pictures on my phone as my own memories for probably 3 months, and then one day, it was like an old, moving picture movie, it like most of them just suddenly flooded back. It was so strange. Um, I wrote a memoir, and that's part of the 3:43 a.m. thing. I wanted to get that out. It was kind
Oh,
of a healing event, if that makes sense. Writing it all chronologically,
yeah.
and
Where can people see
it's
this?
on Amazon, Amazon.com, and
Okay.
on my I have a link to it on my website as well. Uh, so
Okay.
caneycreative.com.
Be sure to send me
Yeah,
yes, be sure to send me an email with that information, and then as we're talking right
yep,
now, because I'm editing this, it's not, live, I'll just pop it up so people know where to
yep,
go.
sounds good.
Wow, I don't know if you talked to me before about that or not, but I don't think you did, but, that's amazing. So you had memory
I
loss,
did in the car
and
accident, and it was
it's
hard because it wasn't like it was all the time or, like, very clinically, like, "I don't know who you are." It was more of like, I'd look at my wife and I'd go, "What like, who is that?" Or like, it was an uncertainty, if that makes sense. And then all of a sudden it would be like, "Oh, yeah, I
oh.
know who she is." But when I would look at my phone, I'm like, "I don't have those memories. I don't know who had those memories." It's
Did you have a concussion as a result of the
yeah, it
accident?
was a concussion for sure. I think it was worse than just a concussion, but, you know, um, it took them a week to diagnose that, um, and I didn't get into imaging for it probably, I don't know, 3 months, maybe more before like, the modern medicine recommendation was just go sit in a dark room and take it easy, but it was pretty rough. Yeah,
Wow.
like, right before
You're
that,
you're
I was really, like, having these strong dream states of knowing it was more than just a dream. I was interacting with things and people, getting messages, and that was gone.
what kinds of
Very
messages?
confusing ones. One of the first ones, I was in a room that was like the shape of a circular thing, kind of like a big donut. I was on this pillar on the inside.
Yeah,
The whole room was dark, but it had
right.
like a fleshy red glow to it, and this loud booming voice, which was male, coming from nowhere, just said the words trillium tacopherol glyphosates, and then I woke up, like stuff like that. Another one was more, I don't know, maybe the word is prophetic, but it was something that I dreamt came to happen. It was very simple. I dreamt there was a blizzard and we were driving in it, and then the next day the same thing happened. And another one was about meeting, I was on this dark in this dark city or dark world. The sky was black, and I was on this boat in this pure black lake near a city, and I think I was with by myself, but I was leaning over the boat, and what I remember was thinking that there was something under the water and talking to other people, but what I knew in the dream was that they were spirits or something, something like that. And there was another one where I was in a hospital type room. This was about the COVID time, of course. Um,
Mm.
I was going into a hospital room and I wasn't supposed to be there. Two things happened. I remember someone telling me it's all about the magnesium, which was bizarre to me in that dream. Then I turned around and either I saw myself as an ET in a mirror or I saw one. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
I
like
remember that. Yep.
very angry that I was there or upset that I was able to see him or something. I don't know. But it was a kind of a looking down his nose at me. I did a drawing of that.
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
illustrations. We used those in the show. I think I
Yep.
still have them. So
Yeah. And before I connected with you folks, I actually did my first like I'm getting myself out there with a filmmaker, Bill Howard. He did. something with a bunch of experiencers called Encounters, and you can see it on Tubi. Um, but like the other thing too, which is really weird, and I know I'm jumping all around. I apologize. My brain is like, I swear to God, after that
That's fine.
accident,
That's fine.
ADHD.
I tend to jump around too.
I went through a
Yeah.
long period
Yeah. Well,
where my dad had passed. Very, very hard on all of us. And I was the one nearby. My brother lives in Oregon. We don't have a big family, so I was the one taking care of managing the estate. So I got a call that someone had found him. He was passed away. I never got to see him before we had him cremated, so I don't know. That was always tough. I couldn't really say goodbye, so to speak. Lots of little things in that whole process I could talk about that is not ET related that is like so stressful, traumatizing a little bit, and I think it needs to change how that stuff works in the American culture. It's just terrible. But there was a
hmm
lot of what I would say uneasiness in that house. So that gets more on the maybe the paranormal ghost side of things, energies, just never felt good.
oh,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
they're related.
absolutely.
They're related. I mean, this is the thing um, that so many
Mhm.
of us realize, and so many of us have had experiences where we have seen our
Yeah.
departed loved ones, and we might not even realize they died, and we'd had a dream that they came and said goodbye and gave us their love, and then the next thing we knew, the phone rang and they had just died. Things like this. There are people here that have had near-death experiences, myself included, and it's kind of
Mhm.
weird how that happened. It's another story, but they're all related because it's
Yeah.
all about consciousness, and the consciousness is non-local. We're all connected to it. We have our own individuality, but we are connected to consciousness. And so when it comes to our visitor friends, they know that realm very well. We do too. We just don't remember it when we're in these bodies as well. And as time goes by, we start to realize it, and some of us don't. So don't be afraid to talk about those things because you think it may not relate enough to the audience. It's time they learn that these things are all connected.
Yeah.
Ghosts, UFOs, what you think are alien beings, uh, is all
Yeah.
consciousness, all spirit.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, putting me more at ease at saying that because I know there are some folks that are like, "Wow, they're not the same thing." But my latest kind of learnings, being in different groups, and speaking with you guys, seeing there all these other stories, it just really solidifies that thought that it is a whole consciousness thing and they're all interrelated in one way or another. And I was just going to mention, like, the night that I came back from his house, we saved his bird. He had a little sun canoer. I think one more day and she would have been. Anyways, that night I was falling asleep and I saw him floating over me and he was asking me for help.
Mhm.
And I think he was with me for a long time after that. And I had dreams for a long time where I know I was searching for him, I think, and I would find him in crowded places and he would either kind of smile or like run away, if that makes sense. Maybe other people have had that, but I think I was really wanting to see him.
Oh yes.
Another dream I had where I was in his living room, or I'm sorry, dining area, and I saw him. And this is where I think he was good to go. Just smiled and gave me his little like typical nod and didn't say a word. And then the dream was over, and I felt more at peace with him, anyways. I think he was all set after that. So that took up a lot of my
Yeah.
experiences for many years, going through that.
My dad came. My dad came to see me. He died unexpectedly in a
Mm,
car accident when I was 14, and I saw him. He came and said goodbye. It runs in the family. On my mom's side, especially, her grandmother came to see her She had died during the night, and my mom was woken up by a phone call, and her mom was on the phone, and
Oh, man.
it had just happened. So it's
Yeah.
Mhm.
That yeah.
And it's okay. It makes it really is something that
Mhm.
brings peace to you
It does.
because we're much more than these
Yeah.
brains and this
Well,
body.
that was something that was a learning experience during that hypnosis session. I mean, I can't tell you there's probably 4 or 5 times that practitioner was very clear that, myself, she realized, um, probably was an older soul and came here several times and just, like, reminded me, "You volunteered for this." Um, and we lose that memory of how,
Yeah,
we if we
yeah,
just like a
that's
meditative
right.
state, right? As a kid, even into my 20s, I'm like, "What are you even talking about?" But when I was with her and I would get into that state, I could feel awareness of a lot more things and all at the same time. It's just really incredible if you can reach that point.
It is because, when you're cooking breakfast in the morning and a spider comes up from behind the stove, my first reaction is not to kill it.
Right.
My first reaction is to get as close to it as I can and observe how beautiful it is and see if I can identify. And the other morning, it was a
Oh,
wolf
cool.
spider. And I had just watched, yeah, I had just watched a short video on YouTube where this guy goes out into the forest. There's one variety of them, it's quite large,
Mhm.
about that big, and he got one on his hand, and it was very happy just sitting on his hand. He said, "It's taking me everything I can do to not freak out, but this is such an amazing experience connecting with this being." And you could
Mhm.
see its little eyes looking at you, and he had his cell phone on it, and the light attracted a moth, and a moth landed on his hand, and the wolf spider was like, "Oh, hey, thanks for the meal." It was just
Yeah.
this amazing moment. Most people would think the creature would bite you, and that would scare me to death. What you're
Yeah.
saying is so true. You get to a point where when all life is so
Mhm.
beautiful and creatures like that are so beautiful, a
Yeah.
spider, it really
It
opens you
does.
up. So I mean, the spider looked at me, and I knew its first thought was, "You're going to kill me, aren't you?" Because it's so used
Mhm.
to that happening, and it's probably in their genetic memory. And the minute it knew I wasn't going to harm it, it just hung out with me for a while. And then it finds I knew it would eat bugs in the house like
Yeah.
mosquitoes and things that we don't want in the house. And that's the symbiosis
Yeah.
that we have with them. So you're absolutely
It's
right.
such a cool story.
That light
I
must have been a
love those
spider.
moments when
Yeah,
nothing is distracting you and you can just do something like that. We all need more of that for sure.
have this moment with this. Yeah, it was
Yep.
another consciousness, and a consciousness that is
Yeah.
connected to
I
us.
remember that when I was little, I couldn't really articulate it, but I always had that feeling of one thing impacts another. And as I got a little older, I could put a word to it, interconnectedness of all things. My mom kind of helped with that.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily religious one way or another. Wasn't rooted in like the Bible or any other thing, but just looking how around me, I had the awareness of like what I do to this has a chain reaction to the next person and things around it. And animals, I always felt more comfortable with just because all they wanted was connection, you know. They
That's
don't
it.
they don't want something
Yeah,
for it.
and I always felt like I could. And you
Yep.
can talk to him, but you can sit there and talk to him with
Mhm.
language. But as you're doing that, you're really connecting with them on a telepathic level, and they do understand your intentions in your fear
Yep.
or lack of it towards them, depending on what
Yeah.
kind of animal it is. So now, obviously, a grizzly bear, you come across a grizzly bear and it's got a cub, it's got to
Yeah.
defend its child, and you're just in the wrong
Yep.
place at the wrong time. You can't hold it against the animal,
Yeah, that's the thing. A
but
lot of people do.
there are ways, and a lot of people have not freaked out and actually communicated with the animal and it
Mhm.
went on its
That's so
way.
cool. I love that. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I think that our visitor friends really want us to develop
Mhm,
this ability psychically or through telepathy to fully connect with
mhm.
other people, other species from other worlds, dimensions, and the animals. So we stop having all this violence and misunderstanding because we once we become completely transparent, they're completely
Yeah,
transparent to us too, and we will know each other's true intentions. And once we can't hide anything, there's no reason for
yeah.
deceit anymore.
I think that was
So,
a reason why I didn't really get along too well with certain people in the corporate world I was in for a while. I was you know,
oh
if
no,
people get to know me, I'm pretty open and gregarious, but in those situations, I'm usually observing for the most part and seeing through things, and they could tell that I was aware of their deceit, as you said, which
well, they know you're
yeah.
different. Did you feel when you were a child? I mean, you do now, but when you were a child, did you know pretty much as soon as you started becoming a self-aware consciousness
Yep,
that you were different?
100%. And
Yeah.
mostly it was just because people acted like I was different, and then I was like, "Oh, I guess I am different too," at the same time. I didn't have like, you would observe
Yeah.
how it's funny because I say humans like they're not my species, but maybe they're not 100%, you know?
That's quite
Yeah,
normal, Tim. That's
I
quite
know.
normal
And I do write
in
about
our
that
in
in
our
my
circles.
memoir, like, that's kind of the first few years of I always felt different. Um, I had different awarenesses and, uh, friend structure was different. I only had a few real close friends that were very similar, but we knew everybody and we were friendly with
That's
everybody
normal.
else, so, but then I think
Yeah, but you stuck to a certain
yeah,
small circle.
those are the ones that we really knew each other, could be ourselves, and we fit in with the others when we had to, so to speak. Um, yeah, it and there was and just there's lots of little different stories from back then, but I wanna make sure I get up to you guys all the speed currently. I did a revision on my
Yeah,
memoir
currently, yeah.
and put that out, I think this summer, because I had some things I wasn't happy with it, and Amazon makes it fairly simple if you can figure out their formatting to do that on your own, which I really love and was able to get that out there. And then prior to that, in between those 2 versions, I started a Substack, Kaney's Weird Files.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
we
and I
have it.
can't thank you guys enough for how much you're um, influencing people to come read my Substack. I get a lot of subscribers from that, from you
Oh,
guys. They see what's going on,
excellent,
and
excellent.
mine is a little different. I'm trying to focus more on the experiencer stories, like facts, not trying to fit it into a framework of belief, but like this is what happened. These are the emotions, and interpret as you will,
Yeah.
much like you guys do. But I started it out
Yeah, you're not
more
gonna
as like a kind of a goofy here are some weird things that happen out there, and then some more analysis of topics on the phenomenon. Maybe some news related things, politics related to it. Anything I can find or think that's kind of interesting. I'll send you a link to that too. Um,
Yep, because 'cause I'm gonna put it up right
cool.
now
Sounds good.
because it's a recording. I'm saying right now, it'll be right
I,
there.
and
Time travel's
it
amazing.
is. It's so cool. I really want to say though, the probably the most impactful thing since coming forward with you guys and otherwise, I probably have had maybe I would say solidly a dozen people reach out in various ways through social media or maybe through Substack as well and say, "Oh my gosh, XYZ about your story. It was the same thing for me. I feel connected to you. Can we talk?" And of course, I'm open to that. Um,
Yeah.
People coming from all parts of the country or the world and saying, I resonated with this part. And I always feel bad because I feel like I don't have enough bandwidth to focus on them like I want to, having it's such a it's hard to describe the connection.
Well, you
Right.
have a life, a job, and kids, and a
Yeah.
wife, so,
I know.
it's good. I'm sure
They
they
do, but
understand.
that's how I am. Like, I still feel guilty.
And a
Yeah, 2
cat.
cats.
You
Yep.
2 cats.
Yep, 2 cats. We also might be inheriting a wild stray one here and there outside.
Ah,
But the connection that I feel with these folks, it like, I just met them, and I feel like I know them because they went like, one lady I recently connected with described almost entirely that period of waking up in the mornings at 3:43 AM, something very similar she went through. Um, it's both terrifying and it's like it evolves who you are. You're not just,
yes,
thinking about, "I'm going to work, I'm
yes,
feeding
and
the
you
kids, and I'm paying taxes." Great. You have to live in the liminal space of, like, there's more going on, and there's not a clear answer all the time. Like, we have ideas of what's out there, but what it actually means is sometimes hard to grasp. Or, you know, what actually happened is buried in whatever the biology of the body does or whatever they do in to protect you or to like hide their presence in your life for a while till you're ready.
right, but you did mention that you agreed to do this, and I hear that all the
Yes, yeah.
time, and I I remembered that, myself. I also remember when I was a little kid and I was having these experiences and they
Hmm.
were coming at night. Um, I really didn't tell my parents about it. I didn't tell anybody about it because they told me, "Don't talk about it." And it was done because they didn't
Mm,
want harm to be brought to me. If I start telling them that there's
right.
little men coming into my house, my bedroom at night and taking me up into the sky to play with other people up in the sky on these craft, I mean, who knows back in the 50s what they would have done to me or what they, would. And plus, I had military and top secret scientists in my family working around me at the time. And so who
Yeah.
knows,
Right.
you just didn't talk about it. So, and then you find out that you kind of agreed to do
Hmm.
this. Um, and then, of course, what's terrifying is you're going on in life and all of a sudden you realize this stuff's in your
Hmm.
life. And initially, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
terrifying. But as you pointed out, you
Yeah.
evolve with it. And it gets to a point where you're having the same kind of moments with this intelligence as I had with that wolf spider on my wall.
Hmm. Yeah.
That connection. There's no fear. There's no fear. There's understanding.
Hmm.
And um, it expands who
Yeah.
you are, your awareness of the universe, of nature, of everything
Hmm.
around you.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing once we get to
So, so you're writing about this stuff, which I think is so cool because we haven't talked in a while, and it's just like it's
Well,
very
thank you.
nice to hear,
I
Tim.
always have that imposter syndrome, though. I see other people, they like, I don't know, around that time, they like,
Everybody has it.
yeah, they do. They all flocked to Substack. Like when I first heard of it, there was like maybe 2 people in the phenomenon writing on there. And once I got on there, they all like there's a ton on there, which is a good and a bad thing. Um, the good thing in that there is a more ability to connect with experiencers one on one who are doing what I did with the memoir, but through Substack blogging. And I'm trying to encourage
Right.
people to do that if they're at that space of like, I don't know what
What
happened. There's a
have you met Jennifer?
Jennifer, probably last name.
Um, I'm looking for that now.
I That rings a bell.
um, yeah, she's Jennifer. I can't pronounce her last name. Moyne
Moynihan. Yeah. Yep. That
Moynihan.
rings a bell. I'm pretty sure we've
Yeah,
connected. And
she's going to. join our support group, which we
Oh,
have
yeah.
online. It's free, it's private and unrecorded, and we have them twice a month and one for just women as
Oh,
well.
that's really awesome.
And it's really helpful for people because they can talk
Yeah,
all they want to each other, and there's nobody listening
yeah,
except just
that's
us.
really great. I mean, especially I've read, like, this last year, I read a few more books that I hadn't got to. Bud Hopkins one, what is it? The Copley Woods Encounters or something like that. One,
Are the
um,
intruders? The
I think
intruders?
so. I can't remember.
That's what Debbie
I
Cobble.
think
Did you watch our the film that we made with her? She talked about her
I
experience
watched a
and
yeah,
evolution of
portion
it.
of that. I gotta rewatch more of it because, like,
Yeah.
I'm 42 and my
The
brain
ending
is
is what you need
and
to hear.
memory is out the door. So, but
Yeah. Well, you need to watch it because what she has to say at the end is very, very helpful
I
and
will
very, very
definitely do
important.
that. What I what I was, um, getting at is, like, the women's support group is important, I believe, because I already knew that it can be really hard for women and very isolating, and
Oh,
reading
yeah.
those books was like, "Okay, you know, we men think it may be hard sometimes, but we haven't gone through what they have." And in some instances, it's
No.
just it's
No.
wild.
No, we don't give
Yep.
birth to children
Yeah.
either,
We
you know, which is a
we
major,
have man
major
colds, all right?
thing, it's no small deal. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to, trying to figure out if I the right direction for that Substack. I've done it for
Well, just
yeah,
feel it, just feel it.
I
You'll
think
know
I've
what to
tried to be
do.
too structured in it, because it's how it kinda started, and I think I just need to be more free flowing with it and talk about what it feels like to be in this position,
Right, that's correct.
and all I wanna do is help encourage people who are at that stage that I was, whether, like, I don't know, there's some weird stuff that happened to me, and either I can ignore it or I can lean in.
Just a few,
Yeah,
huh?
just a few. Uh, encourage them to step
Yeah,
in, like, have that courage to explore that, um, with no turning back. Yeah, it'll change your life for sure if you're ready for that.
sure. Well, we've been told for years and years and years and years and years and years and years that there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as aliens. There's no such thing as
Right.
UFOs. There's no such thing of you having interaction with non-human intelligence. We've been told this over and over again. There's absolutely nothing to it. It's all nonsense. And you and I know that's not the case because if you don't have these experiences, you don't get a card to pass judgment on this subject matter because you have no information other than what the media tells
Yep.
you, and they all think it's
Yep.
nonsense. And what the scientists, not all of them, but tell you. So
It
it's a
is.
hard one. It is. But I find what I found most helpful is not giving a damn whether I can prove it to anyone or if they believe me or not. It's not I can tell you that the people
Mhm.
have been with me when stuff has happened and they saw a craft in the sky with me,
Yeah.
completely changed them. They went from, well, I don't know, Steve, yeah, to oh my God. And they're the next thing I know, they're watching everything about it and they're sending me stuff.
Isn't that
That's
funny?
how it works. You can't hold it against people for having an attitude towards you if they haven't had any kind of experience or
Yeah.
contact or
It's
sighting
it's that
themselves.
whole,
So
like,
give them,
radical
give them time.
acceptance thing, like, yeah, it's okay if you don't believe it. This is what happened to me. It's like
Yeah,
if I went and I don't know, I saw a car accident, but you didn't. Well, I saw it. It's fine. If you didn't believe that it happened, I was there. It's I try not to hold it much different
yeah.
than that
It did
because
that.
if you do, then it kind of can become overwhelming.
Well, it's like that old saying, there's radio waves, microwaves, and just because you can't see them doesn't mean they don't
Oh, that's
exist.
so good. Yeah, and I love.
Well, that's an
Yeah,
old one.
that is. I love what you said too about the kind of hinting at the current. popular public discussion about it. Like they they have not had an experience. They don't know what it feels like, but then they're also coming and talking about the topic as if they have a firsthand authority or firsthand experience on what it is and what it should mean. And that just riles me up. I do get emotional on that side.
Well, yeah, I understand it. You have to try to not let it bother you. If I said that I was excellent at doing that myself, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But I really try hard. The thing is, um, it gets them crazy when you don't care about
Yeah.
offering proof. You know that like when I've had numerous occasions where I saw UFOs
Hmm.
that were so spectacular, and I had my phone right there. It never even occurred to me to film it. It didn't matter to me. I wanted to take in the moment. I didn't want to
Right.
look away and look at my camera, look up, and it's gone.
Hmm.
You know, um,
Yeah. You just want to live in that moment. Yeah.
but it's very yeah, exactly. So It's
Yeah.
uh it's a tough one, but it doesn't have to
No.
be. If you come at peace with it, it's like what I wrote the other day is if you're looking for peace, you got to find it in yourself first.
Mm,
It's really important. That's like the most important thing you can do is work on your own personal inner peace. And then when someone say, "Oh, come on, you're just crazy. That's just sleep paralysis stuff." It just starts to roll off and it just doesn't bother you and you have compassion for the person and you understand why they
yeah.
feel that way.
100%.
Because they haven't had any kind of experience
Yep.
themselves, yeah. And far as proof is concerned, there's all kinds of proof. There's so much evidence and proof to support that these things are happening that it would fill up the entire Smithsonian. But no one wants to really take the time to go and look into
Yeah.
it themselves. But I guarantee you, the minute they see a ghost in their bedroom or a UFO over their house,
They will.
they will. Just like you did.
100%. Yep. Yeah.
Just like I did,
Yep.
you know? I was at the library, when I was in school. That's the only place I could go to read UFO
Hmm.
books, and, you know, I read them,
Yeah.
and it was
It's
amazing,
fun.
so
It's really, it, I don't know. It fills a big well of emotional kind of fulfillment too when you're early on in this transition point and you're reading things and you're going,
yeah,
"Holy crap, that's exactly what I felt," or "I saw something exactly like that." And it's just a reminder, like, this is real. These things happen, and I'm not freaking nuts because you do go into it thinking, "Yeah, I'm
that's right,
probably a wackaloon," but even you know that is kind of a hard thing to unravel by itself. This notion of what is crazy, right? Beyond the medical terminology and definitions. Like, what is that even?
right. I'll tell you what's crazy, raping the earth for your own personal profit, not caring it one bit about men, women, and children who just wanna live their lives on this planet without you bulldozering over
Yeah,
them to
I
gain a profit.
100%.
That's crazy. Wars
Yeah,
are crazy. But you having experiences with non-human intelligence, there's nothing crazy
yeah,
about that at all. The indigenous people have been doing that for thousands of years, and they never once thought of each other as being crazy because some guy came down from the stars and it's something that glowed bright, landed on the ground, and came over and sat around the fire pit with
yeah.
them and talked about stuff.
They did.
But those things happened and they were normal, and so, yeah, you know.
That's
Do you know who Susie Henson
Susie
is?
Hansen or Henson. I don't know if I do know that.
Han Hanson.
Rings a bell.
She's in New Zealand. She wrote a great book called The Dual Soul
Okay.
Connection, and I can pretty much guarantee you if you read that book, what happened to me will happen to you, maybe. And that was at that point in time when I read her book, I thought I'd been all through it. I've read it all, I've seen
Mhm.
it all, I've heard it all. Not that it made it any less interesting, but I really had a wealth of knowledge, and there were a lot of things that happened to me when I was a kid that I didn't talk to Yvonne and the hypnotherapist and other people in
Mhm.
this field about that I thought were maybe just my wild
Yeah.
childhood imagination. So imagine, if you will, you're reading her book and those very things you held back are right
Mm.
there. revealed for all the
Mm.
world to see, and it just you get that
Yes.
feeling again, like you did when you saw that
Yes.
face. I had to put the book down. I got emotional. I started crying. I lost control of my emotions, and then I'd get back to her book, and it would happen again and again.
Mm.
It's a wonderful, beautiful book. She's a wonderful, beautiful human being, and I think if you read that book, you'd really get excited because I think she nails
Oh, that's
what
so
this is
cool to
all
hear.
about.
I'm like you. I feel like I've read a ton of books on this, different articles, watched things, and I'm not sure there's a lot more I would know that I didn't already know, but I've never heard of that one, so I'm excited now.
Yeah, and we've both never
Yeah.
been so wrong. And so yeah,
Cool.
I'll send you a link to it, and it's on Amazon. It's a tremendous book, and Susie and I are working on
Cool.
a couple projects together that I'm going to make videos with her about her experiences, and
Yeah.
she's
That's awesome.
amazing, just amazing. But so, is there anything
Oh
else you'd
man, I
like to
could go
talk
on
about?
forever. Like
What I got you here?
let's see. Um this topic in the book where I started to wonder if where I grew up was maybe a beacon or focal point, and I talk about the geography a little bit. Precambrian exposed rock, the driftless area of Wisconsin where no glacier was. The piezoelectric effect of that material, the quartz, and just wondering. That's the thing that I don't think enough people do. What if? Wondering, is there a connection? What about this stuff? It's wild outside the box.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, fine. But why can't we just imagine what the connection would be? That's how discoveries are made, right? And
right. People think it's safe
yeah,
inside the box, but it
yeah.
really isn't.
It's one of the places I always went to as a kid was a place called Devil's Lake. You can look it up. It's a one of the highest places in south central Wisconsin. Um, just a unique thing. That and then I mean, I I'm I'll try to make this quick, but one of the things that really put the final kind of like proverbial nail in the coffin that what I went through, what I remembered in the hypnosis session was real was we were going through this section or portion of me being returned, seeing this sky lit up like a multicolored pinwheel and seeing a five-pointed craft going up. I'm on my driveway, and as I'm recalling this, I look over and I see a girl next to me in a nightgown holding a very long bunny stuffy, brown long hair, and runs into the neighbor's house.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
reached out to this person who I grew up with, who was our neighbor. I kind of was delicate in asking because we hadn't talked in a long time. Hey, did you ever A, have weird experiences, and B, have a stuffy that looked like this? And she confirmed she had a stuffy exactly like that. And I just about fell out of my chair. I'm like, well, that's it.
Yeah,
I can't describe that feeling, but you can imagine that. Wow, wow.
right. So, yeah, I can describe it. It's like my mother who wouldn't talk to me for 18 years, and then before she passed away, we started talking again, and then she spilled her guts about what she had been seeing all along and knew
Yeah.
that it was happening to me, but never talked about it. And it's like any chance I had of being crazy, or maybe there's a magic pill to take for what I have, just went right out the airlock because you had absolute
Yeah,
confirmation,
absolute
right?
confirmation. Absolutely. Um, and I think
Yeah,
just
this stuff is
yeah,
real. It
my the only thing I would probably sign off with is I think we as experiencers maybe correct me if you feel a different way about this because I am open to that, but I feel the current speak in the geopolitical climate, this whole disclosure, we may be forced to, as experiencers, stop being quiet on the sidelines. And I don't know. That's what I'm feeling. People just be wary of what the government is going to say if they do, if that makes sense.
yeah, I don't trust
No,
them at all. I don't believe
no,
anything they tell me. I do not
no.
trust them. I do not trust. the people making movies about the
Thank you.
subject. I've noticed that certain very popular documentaries released very
Yeah.
recently, very mainstream, were very fear
Mhm.
oriented, stressed the fear narrative. And now we got a big blockbuster movie coming out in June that, so far, according to the trailers, is not something that makes me feel warm and rosy and fuzzy
Yeah.
and want to go see it the way Close Encounters
Oh, I
did
love
when it
Close
came out.
Encounters. I
Because
love
Close Encounters, that's that film, I've evolved with that film in all these years. That film
I
nails
think
it.
it does.
But when Steven made that film, he knew what was going on. He had
Yeah,
good
I
information,
yeah.
but it was more than that. He was young, he was in touch with his inner child, and so he wanted to make a movie that wasn't scary, but a movie that was that moment
Mhm.
I had with the spider. Here's something that would scare you, but you've learned to get past your fear, and it turned out to be something that you shared a consciousness with and wanted to
Yeah,
share it with you. And when I see the new trailer for the new movie, and I've seen all 3 of them coming out, I just don't get that at
yeah,
all. I hope I'm wrong, but it just doesn't look
yeah,
good. And yes, when and if disclosure breaks, however it does, there's gonna be a lot of people turning to us,
yeah.
um, because once they accept that this has been real all along, they're gonna think we have all the answers, and we don't. All we can do is tell them it's gonna be
Yep.
okay. It
Right,
always has been. We'd be dead
right.
by now if it wasn't. Independence Day would have happened. They would have leveled the White House, New York. It would scraped the ground clean of all of us and settle the planet themselves. But that's
Yep.
never
That's
happened.
so true. Yeah,
And yet they've been here all along.
yeah.
So
And I think just be open, everybody, to experience, like you said, the spider that's crawling across your desk to, a squirrel that yeah, just
just say hi.
the moments, enjoy the moments. And of course, thanks to everybody, of course,
Right.
that comes by the Substack and reads and likes. It's not very many, but there's a few.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm subscribed to yours, but I got to do it. And got to do it.
And
So,
I don't know, maybe I'll finish with a question to you. As a fellow, I know you're an artist of sorts for sure.
okay.
I've kind of gotten away from
Okay.
that, and I feel like that's been something that I've been feeling a tug to do more, revisit some of those memories and do drawings or artwork of some kind for that. Um, what do you think of that?
I think you should. I think you should. I mean, I'm always drawing and doing CGI. I don't use AI at all. I just don't approve of it. I
Yeah,
don't like it. I like doing hands-on creation, but I think you should do it. Mary got me a beautiful big drawing pad for Christmas that I can draw directly on, and you can do anything from charcoals to
oh,
oil paints
nice.
to watercolors. It's amazing. And I would highly recommend getting one of those because you'll find that if something will pop in your head, I can draw it right now. I don't have to get out a piece of paper or get a canvas out or a sketchbook and the pencils and the right colors. It's all right
Yeah.
there. It's the same thing, but it's digital. I mean, but it's still you. You have to hand illustrate it. You have to color it, and it's fast, and you can even animate it. You can even bring your drawings to
Ooh,
life.
I
So
want.
I would highly,
Sounds good.
yeah, yeah. They're
Awesome.
they're great.
Thanks so
So
much.
Tim, yeah, thank you so much.
Me
I'm
too.
really glad we hooked up again, and I'm going to subscribe to your Substack. What's it
Kaney's
called
Weird
again?
Files on Substack. Yeah.
Caney's Weird File.
I think
Okay.
I think
Uh,
BTS itself might be. I'm not sure. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess the other thing too is just like figuring out my path forward. Um, you know, just that'll be something I'm always working on, and hopefully just be guided by what is needed. I'll feel it. I'm sure in the ether.
just yeah. Something happens to you, you get a thought, you have an experience, you're sitting looking at the sky and you see something, or you don't see something, you just connect with the sky and you have a certain feeling. Write about it. People love it. They love to hear what you're feeling inside. You're an experiencer, you've had contact with this for all your life,
Yeah.
and they want to know it's going to be okay. And I think by you creating your Substack and writing about things the way you do, it does not have to be structured. It's very genuine, and people
Yeah.
really respond to that.
Awesome.
And you're
Thank you.
helping people.
All right.
All right, Tim.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it, man. It's been great. You take care.
Bye.